everybody, and welcome to Western Oklahoma Sports Night. I am Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here joined by my Western Oklahoma sports partner, Luke Clement, sports director for Wright Media. We are here with you for the next 30 minutes or so to talk about sports in Western Oklahoma. Luke, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Chuck. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing well. It's been busy here of late with the basketball and makeup games and Saturday games and a Wednesday. We weren't able to do a show last Wednesday because I was in Kingfisher with a championship wrap up of the Buckle of the Wheat Belt Invitational. But basketball is kind of dominating everything right now. But everything to boot afterwards is starting to kind of come open, and I know it means a busy time of the year for you.
No doubt, Swar. Basketball is as busy as it gets. Everybody's about to be going to playoffs right now, and this is the exciting part of the season. But then SWOSU is super, super busy. Everything's going at SWOSU now. Basketball, baseball, softball, track, and rodeo pickup next week. So it's a very busy time in Western Oklahoma, no doubt.
You're exactly right with the rodeo, because I was thinking, man, when I get Luke on here, I know I saw a post on Facebook with Emily Beisel, a SWOSU product, Western Oklahoma gal, being, receiving some honors. And I know you keep an eye out on things like that. And, a lot of that stuff is for later in the spring when some of the other sports have wound down, but rodeo gets going pretty quick. And before you know it, it'll be time for the SWOSU rodeo.
You're exactly right. And SWOSU rodeo is really good. I mean, I have a lot of fun covering SWOSU rodeo. They're competitive, and more times than not, they're near the top of the leaderboard.
I think it's been, I think each time the last couple of years I've had Weatherford soccer or something going on that's kind of kept me from getting out there. But I probably need to make a point to find some little gap in there somewhere to check out the SWOSU rodeo. But I'm sure that Coach Wisniewski's got that squad all going. I know that Coach Rice is probably pretty hyped up right now with a new signing class, and then basketball is kicking along, and they kind of unfortunately right now it seems like they kind of alternate. The splits kind of go vice versa with the men and the women. And I guess the last one against Harding, the men got a big win, and the women let one kind of slip away. So just hard pressed in the GAC to get anything consistently going here lately.
No, the GAC is a very competitive league. There's several teams ranked on both the men and the women's side. But yes, last Saturday, the men put up their season high in points, put up 94 in the win. And the women's team just barely lost to the 15th top team, or the 15th best team in the nation, by 5. So SWOSU basketball, I think, is starting to figure it out. The men's team is tied for 6th in the standings, and the women are tied for 9th.
And you need to be 6th at the end of the regular season to get into the GAC conference tournament.
8.
Okay. So get up in there. So Landry Allen with about 10 defensive player of the week awards this year.
Yes, she's got 7, and she's, if I remember right, her average is 4.75 a game, which is second best in the nation for Division II basketball. Yes. Yeah,
she's the Dikembe Mutombo of the GAC for sure. And and I've said this around the office, and when we watch them play, Landry Allen is tough around the bucket too, and that goes all the way back to the Tuttle days, where I would see her, we would defend her at Weatherford as best we could. And she was good off the block, not just trying to make a move up to the bucket, but like a turnaround jumper off the glass is just kind of her wheelhouse, and hard to stop at 6'3". But I know that Coach Zen is looking for, to improve with a lot of that. And then also, I mean, Coach Weiberg is, he's got to be pretty happy with that win. I know they had dropped a couple that they felt like they should have had, but it's all about getting to that tournament, I'm sure.
No, the tournament is all you play for, and this is the second half of the season. So now you've seen everybody once, and you kind of know what to expect, and you can game plan a little bit better for those opponents. 2 tough games this week. They're in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, to play Ouachita Baptist and Henderson State. So 2 tough Arkansas schools there.
For sure. And those Arkansas trips are just, I honestly don't know how Mike Smith does it. I don't know how you've done it in football. I couldn't imagine making the trips also for basketball. But if that's your team, that's your passion, I get it, I guess. But I tell you, I would probably opt out and say I don't feel like going to Monticello this weekend.
Yeah, Monticello, Magnolia.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with not seeing those places
Yeah.
again.
And it's so hard, Luke, to believe that we are into February here in
I
our
know.
sports, and just really it comes along so fast after the holidays. January seems like a bit of a blur, and
Yeah.
typically that's always felt like the longest month of the season for me, but it really went by fast. And I don't know, it's just so odd to think that last weekend was opening weekend for baseball and softball for Southwestern Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and I love this time of the year. I love baseball and softball, and uh, the Bulldog baseball team. They really look good. They put up a bunch of runs and 2 run rule victories against a team who was playing for their conference championship last year in Northwest Missouri State. So
Yeah.
Bulldog baseball got some potential for sure.
Well, they've got Adams State coming up on Friday, and then the weekend is going to be a busy weekend for SWOSU as well. Softball at the Rogers State Festival, men's basketball and women's basketball, as you mentioned, at Arkadelphia on Saturday. They'll be at Ouachita, or they'll be at Henderson on Saturday, Ouachita on
Tomorrow.
Thursday.
Yep.
And then the Rogers State Festival on Saturday. The softball girls have Upper Iowa and Midwestern State, and then baseball with the homestand against Adams State. So just so much going on. But one thing we would be remiss without mentioning, Luke, is, nothing against the other sports, but football kind of is the engine that makes the motor run. I know basketball has a lot of followers, but football is just kind of, the predominant sport within collegiate ranks. And Coach Andrew Rice has a signing class, and that was announced today on SWOSU. Who did you do the coaches show this week?
I did the coaches show last week. Mike did it this week.
Okay, so that's coming on tonight.
Yes.
I didn't see who he had to interview.
He had both of the Coach Zen and Coach Weiberg for the basketball teams and Coach Head for the baseball team. But on SWOSU Athletics, there's SWOSU Athletic, the YouTube channel. There is a interview with Mike Smith and Coach Rice talking about this year's signing class.
Okay, so we'll share a link to that on the social media, and also maybe in the description of this video. So be sure and check that out. And if you are watching, and we hope you are, be sure and give us a comment. Tell us what you've got going on. Like I said, we'll touch on the SWOSU signing class. We'll also talk basketball for high school going around. Luke had a big matchup last night in Thomas with Hydro-Eakly versus the Terriers. I was on the road to Kingfisher for 2 big matchups there between the Eagles and the Yellow Jackets. What seemed like my 8th trip to Kingfisher in the last 3 weeks. But also, then, before you know it, and we won't really get into it too deep tonight, but soccer will be coming around for the high school, and then also just a whole bunch. Plus, it's Super Bowl weekend, Luke.
Yeah. How could you forget about that?
Yeah, there's going to be a New England Patriot championship crowning coming up. No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I hear so many things, and I don't have a dog in the fight, but it just it would be interesting to see if that were the case. But I know you being an AFC Pittsburgh Steeler fan, you wouldn't
wouldn't care to see that.
No. But anyway, so the signing class for Andrew Rice, quite a few high schoolers on here. One in particular that you brought out to my attention, and I noticed, was the quarterback from Jones, Oklahoma, Jones High School, Asen Hansen, 5'11", 185. He's coming off of a state championship in which, didn't they beat the Washington Warriors for that state title?
They did. They knocked off the 2-time defending state champion in Washington.
Yeah.
But no, Jones, a 14-0 undefeated state champ, and Asen Hansen responsible for over 4,000 all-purpose yards this season for the Longhorns. So I really think the SWOSU got a good pickup there.
That is good, and that's what you want. And I think at the D2 level, Luke, and this is, I don't mean this to sound condescending, but you want to find those kids that are winners, that maybe their physicals don't match what the D1 schools are looking for. And that sounds worse than I mean it, but you know what I'm saying? It's like the kids listed at 5'11", 185.
Yeah.
I mean, you would be hard. I mean, he would be hard pressed to find a D1 school that wouldn't tell him, you can walk on and
Yeah.
you're going to run scout team, and a kid like that may come to SWOSU, show out for 2 years and get, I mean, this day and time could get a portal look to a bigger school, and an NIL bump,
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. And I think that's probably what Coach Andrew Rice realizes is I've got to find those kids that are gamers that, that the big schools don't think have the physicals to come day one and compete.
Well, it makes me think back Coach Rice's first year here. The quarterback was Kai Coons, a little guy. He was a D1 bounce back, didn't make it at Kansas, and just came and completely balled out at SWOSU, ran up and down the field. And like you said, the size, coaches might not say that there's size requirements, but every coach has certain parameters that they look for when recruiting
Yeah.
certain positions. And quarterback, I think, is one that probably has the sharpest parameters. And I definitely think at the D2 level, there's a little more leeway for guys of smaller size to have success.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's no slight against a kid who's
No.
probably definitely a player, 4,000 yards of offense. And Jones, like I said, they are in 3A. That's
2A.
Oh, 2A. Okay. Who was the
Big 2A?
Lincoln and Sulphur were the championship in 3A. So
Yeah.
2A, and Washington was a program that had a lot of big players, and they're right outside of Norman. And I always question schools that are right outside a big metro area. But it's just one of those situations where, and let me ask you this, and you follow SWOSU enough as their sideline reporter. Do you think a coach wants to look at it and say, I would rather bring in, I mean, you're going to have to probably balance both, but you're going to have to look at the upper level quarterbacks that want to transfer in to get a chance, or the high school kids that maybe didn't get the offers from the big schools that want to come here and prove themselves, and both want to prove themselves. But it's, I don't know. It would be interesting to know the thought process with regards to recruiting teams and things like that as to which one you would actually prefer. I don't know.
I think it really just depends on the coach or the team, the makeup of the roster. If you look at the signing day, not only did we get the Asen Hansen, the recruit out of Jones High School, but also a transfer quarterback out of a JUCO. You're going to have to remind me of the name of that school.
Charles Mutter from Emory and Henry University.
So
is the transfer quarterback they show.
Rice definitely got the high school guy that maybe was a little bit overlooked and has a little chip on his shoulder and wants to come and prove something. And then also the JUCO guy who's maybe the same thing, a D1 knockback and had to go to the JUCO route and is trying to get his way back to the top. So I think it is interesting. Both guys are having something to prove, but, coming from a different place.
Yeah. 3 transfers from Cisco College down in Texas. Mary Hardin Baylor, Landon Sanders, a defensive back, 5'10", 160. I know from my friend Corey Hogue down in Texas, who used to write for Dave Campbell's Texas Football and covered non-FBS schools for them. Mary Hardin Baylor is one of those big-time traditional D3, I think, schools down in the state of Texas. So I'm sure that kid's a player. No players from Elgin on this list. First time in Andrew Rice's 3 recruiting seasons, no players from Elgin.
I'm sure the Lawdog isn't too upset about that.
Hey, if they come here and play out, that's fine. I just hate what they've done to Weatherford in the high school ranks. But it's like I said, there, you pointed out before we came on the air, Noah Armijo, tight end, 6'6", 255, a transfer from New Mexico Highlands. 6'6", 255, man. There's some programs in power conferences that wouldn't mind having a tight end that size, but just a lot of names on here that we will kind of research out a little more. None that just jump out to me as far as high school goes that I covered, but they also picked up a defensive lineman from Jones, 6'1", 250 Dorian Wiley. So just all kinds of interest for Andrew Rice to follow, the high school sports. And I think he's showing that he's going to go and find the talent that he is looking for within the state ranks of Oklahoma.
If I believe right, that Dorian Wiley, the D lineman from Jones, had over 15 offers, and SWOSU was able to sway him. And I think that says a lot about not only Coach Rice, but his coaching staff's connections inside the state to be able to go and recruit these top high school recruits that are wanted, and they're going to be in Weatherford.
Well, and also a connection with Jones, former, I think, defensive lineman, maybe offensive line, Isaac Robinson. Was that his name?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
He's my physical therapist in Weatherford at Sayre.
Is that so?
Well, he was training there. He was an intern or something like that. So
I know exactly who you're talking about. He was on the O line my first 2 years on the sideline.
Yeah, big kid from Jones. So
yes,
sure we got an in there.
yeah, we're thinking about him.
Also, Luke, some transfers from within the GAC. One from Northwestern, Joshua McGinnis, a 6', 285 lineman, and then a wide receiver, Garrett Vaughn, originally from Bixby, 5'9", 165, transfers in from Oklahoma Baptist, and then also another tight end from Northeastern State. So that from the MIAA. But the intra GAC transfers are always interesting to me because it's kind of like in basketball with Peyton Condi coming from OBU to Southwestern. That's you're transferring to a school and you're going to face your old school twice a season, and so very interesting indeed to me. But I think a lot of trust can be placed in Andrew Rice. I think he's shown that he's got the plan and the intuition and the vision to see what he can do at SWOSU. I would say probably going forward, it's just going to be trying to safeguard. I know they signed him to a new contract, but safeguarding him from being tabbed up to go to a higher level.
No doubt. That's the dilemma for all small schools around the nation is all these schools, all the big schools are firing their coaches, which results in coaching changes everywhere. Look at Coach Signetti's, Kurt Signetti's, who just won the national championship at Indiana. I mean, he started out at the D2 level and won there. So everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and interesting list, and we'll be sure and check out the video on YouTube with Coach Rice and Mike Smith talking about the signing day. And like I said, so much going on with SWOSU sports. We are keeping a keen eye on SWOSUathletics.com to be able to keep up with that. And so, Luke, really, for you and I this time of season, it's just basketball. I mean, it's you probably live it. I know you live it every day because I used to do your job, but you do it much better than I ever did.
Oh,
it's a daily grind to keep up with basketball scores and try to find something a little bit extra than just reading a score. And sometimes you're able to find stuff on social media, different things like that. I wonder if anybody really realizes what the actual stats were of the game between Mangum and Frederick last week, where the referees cleared out the entire Mangum side.
That was an afterthought.
Sorry.
Yes, that was what a wild game. But I imagine that those stats were an afterthought. I know that if I was broadcasting that game, writing down who scored wouldn't be my first priority after just trying to comprehend all of that.
Yeah. And so both those squads are 2A. Am I correct?
Yes, I do.
So Sayre could end up going to either one of those places, couldn't they? And
indeed.
Yeah. So
get a little rowdy.
You could end up with Max Patton being asked to leave. And really, we should have reached out to Max to get him on tonight. He could probably give us a little more perspective about Mangum and Frederick. But I did not know that Mangum had a radio station down there, and I don't know the format or anything. But the gentleman who was announcing said he's been in broadcasting 40 years. I know because he said it about 8 times. But then also, I mean, the emphasis that he was the only human being over on that side, except the woman who started feeding her kid the bottle. So, I'm with him. I've never seen anything like that, heard of anything like that. I mean, usually they'll target one guy and say, you got to go. And I saw the dude on the video, the red hoodie, tell him he sucked.
Yeah.
And
he meant it too, didn't he?
Yeah. And there were some people, there were some Weatherford fans that got kicked out of the Buckle of the Wheat Belt Championship last Wednesday for telling the ref he was awful. And I don't know. The word I heard was they told him he was awful. Maybe they told him he sucked. I don't know. But apparently officials are not going to tolerate that kind of criticism.
Yeah. What's funny about that whole deal is I'm at work today, and Destiny, our secretary, comes back there and says, we just got a phone call, somebody asking about the Mangum Frederick game. I was just wanting to know what the deal was. So I called him back, and he's like, yeah, or we talked about it for a couple minutes, and he goes, yeah, I thought that was you guys who were doing that. And I said, no, there's another radio station out of Mangum who was covering that one.
Yeah, I had never heard of that station, and it serves purpose that Mangum would have their own radio station, because there's no other radio station that's generally going to reach down there. So, but it's it is, the trip from Mangum to Frederick would be a pretty good one, and then the Frederick folks didn't have long to go to get home. I guess they were able. I told
to get out early.
I think I told somebody, because Jared Jones, my my broadcast partner on Weatherford football, he's the former broadcast voice for Frederick football and Frederick sports. And I had asked him, I said, "Do you ever ride the Bomber Mobile?" And I don't know. Have you ever heard about the Bomber Mobile?
I haven't. I only played Frederick one time growing up.
Okay. Well, in football, they lead the team out with a big kind of bomber shaped looking vehicle. That flies out there, and I guess somebody gets to drive it every week or something like that. I asked Coach Grant Gibbons about it, because he was at Frederick also. So anyways, I said, well, maybe those officials might get ran over by the Bomber Mobile next season. So
anyway. Keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, but it was crazy deal. I posted it to the Facebook page, Lawdog Sports, and Marty Wandry had found it and sent it to me before I did that. But basketball heating up in a lot of ways, not to mention just irritated officials. But so we'll kind of jump into it, Luke. I'll go ahead and get into 4A, because last time we had Max on and Justin Jefferson. We talked a lot of Clinton, talked a lot of Sayre. This time we'll kind of jump in on Weatherford, because I think we're talking about two of the teams in Western Oklahoma, boys and girls for the Eagles, that have potential to make playoff runs. And
Definitely.
Nothing against the Clinton teams, and I think Elk City's got a girls team that could do some things. I haven't checked to see if they've got Campbell Garbarino back. I'd have to check with Aaron Kalk, but I think they've struggled even as of late.
I talked with Coach Mason Jones last week, and the way that she talked, I think they do have Gambarino back.
Okay. So Campbell Garbarino is a factor to get them back on track. They struggled pretty mightily without her. She's 5'10", 5'11", athletic, can dribble to the bucket, can get her shot. She helps out the tall girl Kaz Ulrich a lot. So Elk City girls could be somebody who makes some noise in the playoff. Weatherford girls, they lose by 5 last night to Kingfisher, and we hit some threes late that kind of made that a little closer. But I'll tell you, and I said this Saturday night at the Anadarko game, and Lady Eagles got a big win down there. Mm-hmm. But in the boys game, I was just waiting on Shump. He couldn't go 4 corners where it was just passing back and forth, but they dribbled around a lot to stall a lot of time. And Coach Bull has done it at times here as of late, just to kind of, I think really his is just to kind of speed up the game when they've got a lead.
Yeah.
But they had shot clocks up and ready to roll next season at Anadarko. It's going to be a whole different game next year with shot clocks in place.
I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for actual basketball to be played
Yeah.
and not this stall ball. Let's run a minute off the clock because we have a lead. And that's not basketball. Who can pass the ball better and who can hold on to it? It's not fun to watch. It's not fun for the players to do that. They don't want to sit there and do that.
No.
I am really, really excited for the shot clock to come to high school basketball.
It will be interesting, and we will see how it affects things for sure, and what coaches' strategies will be. But I mean, there was a period where I think Shumpert ran off a good minute and a half at the very least, with about a 4-point lead, I think, or something like that. So Weatherford ends up losing that by 3. Had a chance with a couple of shots late to get that one. Second loss of the season, but the girls got a win that night against a a top 10 ranked 3A team in the Lady Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, Luke, Deja Gibbons transferred back to Weatherford. She played here as a freshman, transferred with mom and dad taking jobs at Duncan, played for the Demons down there for 2 seasons, averaged about 15 points a game both seasons, I think, has come back. And I'm telling you what, thank goodness she has come back, because she's consistent offensively. She handles the ball. She's doing a lot of things to help them to the record they are. And man, I'm telling you, they jumped up to number 9 in Monday's poll, and they're tied with Hera, who they beat the week
I rarely
before.
see that. That surprised me. Hardly ever see teams tied in there.
It's just about the points, I guess, and each with 520 points. The loss last night to Kingfisher, it's hard enough to beat Kingfisher in the Hive.
Tough place to play.
But I'll tell you this much. That is not the same Kingfisher crowds that I had experienced the first 2 seasons I had ever gone there.
They packed
are
out and rowdy, and
not nearly what it has been in the past. Nothing like it was. And they've got 2 good teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We were talking about it on the way home, and I said, I don't know if it's kind of a micro rebellion against, having to pay extra property taxes to pay out the lawsuit settlement from the hazing incident. I don't know. It could be a lot of things, but with their basketball programs, I mean, so much history and legacy within 10 years.
Yeah. And
just not the crowd that you would expect for a top 10 ranked girls team, and then also a boys team that is top 10 and came out and played hard. But Weatherford, it's just so tough for them to deal with that Kingfisher squad, because they've got 2 5'10" girls who are just kind of all over the place. And they do well. They caused the Myers girl to shoot the ball poorly in the first half. She kind of came alive in the second half, but the previous game in the Buckle of the Wheat Belt Invitational, both of those girls had 19 points apiece. And that's tough when you got 2 players nearing the 20-point mark. It makes it tough. But even in that game, the Lady Eagles came back late and cut a double digit deficit to 8. And so, but the boys, after falling to Perkins Tryon last week in the Buckle of the Wheat Belt Invitational, getting a scrappy physical win at Alva. And that was another thing about the girls too. They beat Anadarko after falling in a heartbreaker overtime at Alva, where Deja had 31 points.
Chad told me a little bit about the setting of that game, said that one was a rowdy setting.
Well, I'll
just maybe a little packed, cramped.
Let's just say that if you really, and I noticed this when Weatherford went to Broken Bow for football, if you want to get under the skin of opposing squads, put your pep band next to them. And if you want to get under the skin of the opposing squad's broadcast team, that really does the trick. I mean, and Chad's the ultimate consummate professional, and he handles people very well, but he kind of just decided not to go trying to deal with it, because they put their pep band right there on top of us. And the thing about it is it's like they were all spread out. It wasn't like they were all kind of condensed and as one harmonious group. They were kind of spread out. And some kid's got his stupid trumpet turned right towards Chad's head. and just blaring it into Chad's ear. And it was like, you little punk.
Poor guy.
I started to craft a sharply toned letter to send to the athletic director, but he was a nice guy. It was a nice setup until the pep band showed up. But
Yeah.
But I hate all pep bands at basketball games, Luke. I mean,
See, I totally disagree.
Really?
I think more schools should have their bands inside gyms. It's a small condensed area and it just echoes. Thomas had their and it wasn't their full band, just a little section of their band at the game last night. But it
Mhm.
was on the home side, and they had it tucked away in the corner. It wasn't near anybody. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it adds another cool environment or another aspect to the environment of the game.
I can remember collegiately, OU would have their pep band there at Lloyd Noble Center. I think OSU does it too. High school bands, they do it, but man, I mean, have some dignity, and plus all the kids were stomping on the wood bleachers, and it was causing the camera to vibrate and make the picture shake. And it's like,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't affect our job. We're just trying to be there doing a job. But we'll see if I ever go to Alva again for a basketball game. But anyways, hey, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X. So be sure and join the conversation. Let us know what you've got going on and what you think about some of the things in Western Oklahoma. Looking forward, Luke, Weatherford boys and girls have some tough matchups coming up. Tuttle comes to Weatherford on Friday, homecoming. Tuttle girls, not quite what they have been in the past, still a competitive out, and then Tuttle boys struggling a bit this season. And then Elgin comes Saturday for a makeup game from back in December. And the Owl boys are struggling. Owl girls, we played them in the Weatherford Classic and won. And that was a hard fought win, 48-43. You want to get through this week as best you can, but then both squads next week, Luke, have Bethany in at home on Tuesday and then travel to Blanchard on Friday. And
it's a tough stretch.
I really, really hope that both teams can pull something out against both of them, win both of them. Blanchard boys, I looking at them, looking at their results and some of their tape. They're pretty solid. I mean, and I'll say this, I think there's a lot of squads in Western Oklahoma and this area, the Western Athletic Conference, that remember some of the butt whoopings that Weatherford has given them in boys action over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And maybe a little extra motivation to come out and get after Derek Bull. I don't know. Girls, I would love to see them get a win against Bethany if they, try to get that one, because looking at it, Bethany is ranked number 8 and they're 16-3.
Aren't they 2-time defending state champs and they got them at 8?
They didn't win last season.
They didn't win it last season.
No,
okay.
Lincoln Christian, and I'll be straight with you. I mean, Lincoln Christian's 16-2. They're ranked number 1. They got all 46. Well, I'll take that back. McLeod and Douglas each got 1 first place vote. Lincoln Christian got 46. Top 10 in 4A girls, you've got Lincoln Christian, Broken Bow, Locust Grove, McLeod, Douglas, Kingfisher, Chickasha, Bethany, and then Hera and Weatherford. So the Bethany game, I think it's going to be more winnable than it has in the past when they had the Van girls and Kate and Donnelly. Just really hard sledding for us, especially when they put a full court press on us. But it'd be nice to get that win just for the confidence sake, and maybe to
100%.
see if we can't get an offense going against some of these tougher teams, because I think that's where it's been tough at times. They beat that Hera team by 1 point and held them scoreless in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Yeah,
good defense.
Yeah, it was. And just enough offense to get it going. But Alva was a tough one. We did pretty well late against them, had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter and just couldn't hold on to it. They had a 6'2" girl who was really good down low, so it was tough. But
we'll see her playing Southwestern in a couple of years.
The girl from Alva,
the 6'2" girl,
probably be at Northwestern. She's not the most mobile, but man, down low at 6'2", she had a soft touch for sure. But as far as Weatherford girls, I'll look for them. Hopefully, maybe get 4 games left before you go to Clinton on the 17th, wrap up the regular season. I'll be straight with the girls. I'd love to see them go 2 for 2, 2-2, and maybe better. And maybe, if you went 3-1, one of those wins would be either against Bethany or Blanchard. So would love to see the home, 3 straight home games coming up. You got to win against Tuttle, and you need to win against Elgin, even though you played a tough one against them. But
are Elgin and Blanchard conference opponents for you guys?
I think that, I'll be straight with you. We play them on the regular. So I'm assuming they are part of the Western Athletic Conference. Tuttle, I don't know if Kingfishers, I don't think Woodward is. I couldn't tell you what
the 8 teams are.
In 5 seasons of calling Weatherford basketball, I couldn't tell you the exact formation of the Western Athletic Conference. I mean, I assume it's the 4A schools that we play from west of I-35. It may include Anadarko. I don't know. I mean, it's the conferences are that conference is hard for me to figure. I'm assuming Clinton and Elk City are in it. I mean, you can't go online and find out where it's at. I don't think
the same way
conferences.
That's the same way with the Ouachita Valley Conference with Hydro and Thomas. You can't find that anywhere. And this year, the past 2 seasons, Gracemont has been in it, but nobody played Gracemont this season. So all year I was like, who took Gracemont's spot? And I finally figured out last night that it was Cordell. So I think it's ever changing in those conferences.
Yeah. Well, real quick, Weatherford boys got a nice win last night against Kingfisher. Coach Derek Bull pulled out the old 1-3-1 defense with Jackson Smith up at the top, one of your taller players. They were without Hunter Nelson, who hurt his ankle, I think, in the Anadarko game on Saturday. The Anadarko game was tough, Luke, because Anadarko just kind of went unconscious from 3. They shot 66%.
Wow.
And really, I think they only hit 1 more 3 than we did. 8 3-point buckets versus 7, but they shot way fewer. And I know that efficiency makes a difference as you're going down the road. But anyways, the Weatherford boys, I will love to see how they look against Bethany and Blanchard, because I think they can beat anybody in this conference, anybody they face. They've just got to play their ball game, and really it kind of hinges on Jackson Smith and Cooper Bryant getting those easy buckets down low, Jackson getting to the bucket, getting calls, and then also his mid-range game has been outstanding this season. So, and they're always going to play good defense. So like I said, that 1-3-1 last night, I could tell it's the first time this season he sprung it out on a team that I've seen, and I could tell that they were affecting Kingfisher a bit. So they got the win in that one. So nice job there for them. But it gets tough. I mean, like I said, Tuttle and Elgin won't be too much, hopefully, to deal with. But Bethany and Blanchard next week will be tough ones.
There'll be some good ones. I feel like the past couple of games I've heard Cash Weiberg, Dylan Epp. I've heard those 2 names a lot. Seems like they've really stepped up their game and have really contributed on the offensive side.
Yeah, Cash Weiberg has really gotten his outside game going. He had a couple of 2-point buckets last night as well. Kingfisher tried to press, and we handled their press pretty well. Got some, when a team presses, you want to be able to break their press and get an easy bucket down low, and that's the best way to really handle a press in my book. But Cash Weiberg, Dylan Epp, they've shown that they can find. Even Jacoby Flynn has made some 3s outside lately, and then he's a great defender as well. But Weiberg gets in there, and he can come off of a screen, get up a shot quick, or be out in a spot and kick it out to him. He's got a good 3-point shot, so that's something that teams have to deal with. Our thing last night, and I think it was a little bit of a interesting look, was dealing with a team without the benefit of our power forward, Hunter Nelson, because he's 6'3" and he's athletic as all get out. And I mean, he really can play defense well against really about anybody on the court except maybe some smaller point guards. But it'll be interesting. Weatherford boys with a great, record so far this season. I don't know if anybody expected that after all the graduations last year. I kind of did, I'm going to say, just because I knew those kids were wanting their chance and have been practicing every day.
Something to prove.
Yeah, and practicing every day against the best team in the state last year. So,
yeah.
Speaking of best team in the state, I'll say this, in Class 4A boys, they've still got Douglas up at the top. And I don't know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know that they have near the offensive set or the offensive talent they had last year. In fact, I know they don't. But what I have noticed is they just play such pressure defense that they create so much offense buckets out of that. But I'll say this. I mean, this is going to be the year that we'll see who all makes state in Class 4A boys. I want Weatherford to get a shot, because I think once you get to state, we saw in 2022, you can go out and get you a win. But Douglas, at 13-6, they don't play anybody really from the state until maybe the last week or two when they play some Oklahoma City schools. They won 65-49 against Class and SAS last night. Their remaining games on their schedule is On Point Academy, Dove Science, and Harding Fine Arts. They lost to Millwood last Saturday. So that's and I'll be straight. Millwood's best team in the state. I would be hard pressed to even think of a 6A team that would beat Millwood that I would pick.
I'd love to see Millwood in a loss. And just to root for the underdog, I'd love to see Millwood take on Owasso.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't give you a reason why I would pick against Millwood against anybody in the state, honestly. But so anyways, but those 4A's got those teams: Crossings, North Rock Creek, Fort Gibson, and Weatherford's at 6. But then you've got Blanchard right behind them, and I never really know much about the east side until we get into area or regional. I don't even,
too much to cover, too much to look for.
I mean, they've got Broken Bow at 15. They're 13-5, and I'm sure they had athletes in football, so that generally is going to translate to basketball as well.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. But you had a big one last night, as you mentioned, and I'm glad you got to enjoy the pep band at Thomas. So talk about what the Terrier girls had going for them against the Lady Bobcats of Hydro-Eakly.
Lady Terriers won it big over Hydro. They really let it wire to wire, controlled Hydro, or it was able to cut down the lead to a couple of buckets in the second quarter. But besides that, it was all Thomas. They led it 15-3 after the first quarter and really just didn't look back. Channing Wright, they have several girls who they can go to get a bucket. Channing Wright is really good from outside. She can shoot the ball. Jorgen Stewart, is really versatile. She can go inside. She can shoot from outside as well. And then they have a freshman, Kylie Mavity, who I think is probably the tallest girl that they have on the team. She had several blocks last night, double-digit points. She's somebody that is going to be very good for Thomas for several years to come.
Yeah. Her little sister, Hadley, has played on a team. They're in 6th grade now. A couple of our neighbor girls have played on a team together with her, and she's a tall girl and, just going to be taller and taller. So, I mean, and Coach Petrie, he always has those girls ready. He always has, a great game plan. It would be interesting to see Thomas girls get a good playoff run going. And, I don't know I haven't paid that close of attention to Hydro. You do their games on the regular. It's hard to believe, and I see Reese Berkey on the roster at SWOSU, and I'm thinking, man, that was some teams back then for the Lady Bobcats. But small school ball is cyclical. You know that from playing at Minco, and because I'm sure they dropped off the map when you left.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But small school ball is cyclical, and you have those groups that come in, but usually a coach will have squads that really just always bring it.
Well, last night was senior night for Thomas, and I know they had 5 seniors that started, and I want to say that they had another one that subbed in. So a very experienced group that Coach Petrie has had for 4 years. So they know, no doubt, do they know what he wants to see in his game plan, and he's got a really good group and a very good defensive group. They stifled Hydro-Eakly on the offensive side of the ball. So I have no doubt that Thomas can make a run, and I just feel like if you grow up in Thomas, you see success growing up, you just know how to win. So yeah, Thomas
Sure.
is a team that I will never count out once it gets to postseason play.
Yeah. Well, and on the boys' side, it was all Bobcats, and they really got after the Terriers. Thomas had moved up into the top 20 in the final rankings. I'm sorry, I'm looking at girls' action. My
Hmm.
apology. But it's it's such a tough pool in Class A. Uh, you know, you go forward, and I thought this would be a season that the Terrier boys could probably make an extended run. After I saw the result last night, I'm like, oh, what's going on? You've got a Arapahoe Butler that's really good this season.
Hmm.
Hydro-Eakly can obviously get out and get after it. What's your take on the Class A boys situation in this region?
Class A boys basketball is really, really competitive. You got Okarchi, who put up 120 points on Calumet last night. I mean, that's just crazy. But in the area for Hydro and Thomas, you have Canute, you have Arapahoe Butler's in Area 1. In Area 2, you have Canute, Thomas, Hydro. There are several teams in Western Oklahoma who can play some really good ball. Hydro-Eakly, their biggest pro is the 2 big men that they have inside, Hudson Warner and Peyton Lyerly. When those 2 get going and can play off of each other, they are very, very hard to stop.
Yeah.
And then another senior, Jackson Wool, he can get hot from outside, and he might be one of the most intense kids that I've ever seen play basketball, just full of energy. One of the just loves to make hustle plays, loves to drive inside. The Bobcats have a couple of weapons that can definitely help them out during postseason play.
Yeah. And you'll be there for all of that on Bobcat TV at Wright.media. And that'll be a lot of fun to follow there. I tell you, I think it was 2 seasons ago, Hydro-Eakly came up to Thomas for
Hmm.
districts.
That was my
And,
first year calling games.
yeah. And I remember watching that Hydro-Eakly team and thinking, man, Thomas could stand to see if maybe they could put together a co-op to get those kids to come up and play football. There was some meat there in the Orin
Yeah.
Lob's squad there, I think, in his first season. But it's always fun, and looking at Class A, like you mentioned, and it was 117-68 Okarchi over Calumet in Class A. I mean, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like Class 4A girls. You could have a state tournament. I I would put the bank on Lincoln Christian.
Yeah.
Same thing with Okarchi in Class A. I mean, I thought they should have gotten the winners bracket at the Tournament of Champions. They were
Yeah.
beating East Central in that one, and then fell behind after I thought some shabby officiating, but
So
ended
their
up
only 3
losing.
losses are at the Tournament of
Yeah,
Champions.
and that was to Wasso, Southmore, and East Central. So, just a tough go, but they really are having their way with A and 2A competition. Calumet's no slouch. I
No.
mean,
Mm-mm.
Calumet's number 2 in Class B Division 1.
Yes.
How hard is your job now with the Class B divided into two two divisions?
Just makes those stories a little bit longer. When I gotta type it out, you gotta
Yeah,
make another paragraph and print out some more papers to make sure you have everybody. But I think the split of the new classes really, I think it was a good thing. I think a lot of people were worried about it diluting the competition, but I think it's just made it more even if anything.
yeah. Bingeroni, a tough team in boys basketball class B Division 1. They're 20-2 on the season, ranked number 3. Hammond up in the top 10 as well. Hammond Warrior boys. Sentinel, they're in there. It's a shame that
Yeah.
the West Central tournament didn't get to be finished.
Yes. I love the West Central. This has been my third year doing it, and it's just a fun environment. I've seen the Pioneer Event Center get more full for high school games than I have SWOSU games. It's a
Yeah.
really fun environment, and yes, like you said, very sad that it wasn't able to be played out this year.
I called out the SWOSU crowd right after Christmas break when East Central came to town, and I was sitting in the corner by where the lower level exit is,
Hmm.
and I was sitting in that corner, and I could literally during gameplay hear the East Central play-by-play guy across the court from me.
Wow.
I could hear his voice. I'm like, this is too quiet for a collegiate game, but
Yeah.
it perked up a little bit for the men's game. But so yeah, West Central tournament. Shame that they weren't able to finish that. But you've got that Ouachita Valley Conference coming up. Talk about the games that you'll be covering for that.
I got two third place games. Hydro rematch with Thomas, girls and boys. So I know the Hydro-Eakly girls will definitely be hungry, ready to get back in that one. And the boys will be looking for another win to add to the belt before playoffs. One thing to note about the Ouachita Valley Conference Finals, Saturday, the championship game on the boys' side is between Calumet and Binger. So
Oh, okay.
1 versus 2. So if you are free on Saturday night, get to the Pioneer Event Center on the campus of SWOSU. Some really good basketball.
Is that being streamed by anybody?
Maybe Calumet or Binger. We are not doing it.
Okay. All right.
But I know the first time that those guys played earlier this year, Binger won it by 1 point. So
Wow, that will be fun.
Yeah.
You know, looking at Class B Division II, Dover's at the top. Number one, Jared Reese, the former Kingfisher coach, who won all those state titles at Kingfisher. He's got Dover at 21-1. Right behind them is Vici at 22-2. And
what class are they?
That's B2.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. Fort Cobb Broxton boys in B1, also in the top 10, as well as Hammond. But yeah, so I've got basketball. It's an afternoon game against Elgin on Saturday. So what time is that game supposed to be Saturday for Thomas and Hydro?
7. And
7.
then the
So
Calumet Binger game would be 8:30.
Okay. I might check with the wife and see if she wants to come into town and check out some Terrier basketball and the Hydro-Eakly. You know, most of those kids that play for Thomas are my neighbors. So I should probably get to one game. And every game they've had so far this season has been the same time we had a Weatherford game. But anyways, so basketball heating up. Playoffs will be here. The Thomas is hosting districts. Where's Hydro going for districts?
We are hosting the Wayne Bulldogs, so we're staying home, thankfully,
There
not
you
having
go.
to travel.
That's nice. I'm really happy for you there. And,
Yeah, right.
So Saturday, I guess Squirtle will do the reveal show for 4A through 2A.
Yes, will that be this weekend?
4A through 2A Saturday morning, I believe. Somebody said they watched it last week with Mark Rogers on there doing the reveal show for Class A and B. But we'll see where Weatherford, Clinton, and Elk City go. Clinton, man, it's just I feel bad for the Red Tornadoes because I think they've got kids that play hard. I think they've got kids that try. It's just, being in 4A and playing some of these teams. I mean, Woodward is a team that I look at and think, they've lost to Weatherford 4 times. They've only got 5 losses.
Wow.
Where would they be at if they didn't have to play Weatherford, 4 times already? And
you guys have played Woodward 4 times this year?
4 times.
The boys?
Season opener, championship of the Arvest Bank Classic in Chickasha, regular season return trip at Weatherford, and then semifinals of the Buckle of the Wheat Belt.
Wow.
Yeah. And Woodward won the
and
third.
They're coming here for districts, right?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll be here for regionals. But Woodward won the 3rd place game at Kingfisher, defeating the home team. So they were pretty happy. And I tell you, we'll be paying attention to Caden Gaines over the next couple of years, and even later in this year. I mean, 6'8" with a handle and a touch. I mean, he's just going to increasingly be a lot to deal with, and it'll be interesting to see that. Hey, I was going to tell you, I ran into Coach John Higbee today at the store.
There you go. How was he?
He's doing all right, and it was great to see him. I told him how much I've appreciated him over the years, and when I did your job, he was always so accommodating, and that meant a lot, being that I was the voice of Weatherford football.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he's always had a quote, and I've said this before. I don't know if you've been privy to it, but John's the funnest interview in coaching. I mean,
A lot of personality.
a lot of personality. He won't give you he'll give you more than just coach speak.
100%.
And he'll cut it straight. And the post games with Marty Wandry on Red Tornado TV, always cinema must see. And I'm not involved with it. I'm not, I consider him a good guy. I wish Trevor Powers luck. I'll just be surprised if you're able to replicate kind of what Coach Higbee had going there. I don't know. That's just my take from the outside looking in. It may make a lot of Red Tornado fans mad. I'm not against Coach Powers. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. If they win every game, but the Custer County conflict, I'm good with that. But, it's just I don't know how you come to the decision that this guy who's lived and breathed our football program for so long and has some bad luck come his way. I just, I'll be surprised if there's not some blowback on that. I know Clinton faithful were pretty mad. Fans can be fickle. They'll move on if there's some early success, and you got to support the guy who's in right now. I get that. John Higbee will always be one of my favorite figures in high school football.
I'll second everything you just said about Coach John Higbee. He was always very helpful with me at the radio station. Every time I needed an interview or just a question about whatever it may be, Higbee was always super helpful with us at the station. I will say, Coach Trevor Powers, I think his game or his blueprint is there. I think he's got the right idea, and I think he's got a really good coaching staff put together. He's made some really good hires to come and help him. And
how many head coaches has he? I heard you say Tyler Watson, and then also
I can't think of the guy's name, but the head coach out of Texoma.
Yeah,
he was at
Texoma. So he's got. That's a guy who would have gone head to head against him at hooker.
Indeed. You're exactly right. That's what he told us after the press conference. He said that me and him had some battles when I was at hooker and he was at Texoma. And I think it might be a process to get the athletes and to develop everybody. But I definitely think Powers has the right idea and the right blueprint for a new Clinton football program for sure.
Yeah. Well, one thing, and I know, speaking with Coach Higbee in the past, and I think it's a situation with a lot of the more rural located 4A teams, is depth, and you start getting a rash of injuries, and it makes it tough. And I know Coach Higbee not only dealt with his own injury early in the season, trying to get through that, but then also his players, and things like that. But it just I'm sad to think, and he may find a place where he's gonna go to next, and I would imagine his name will be somebody's target on the market.
I don't see how it couldn't be.
Winning coach. I hope the best for him, and I hope he finds a place where he's happy. But like I said, you talk about a guy who lived the Red Tornado program and brought success there in a state championship as well. So. But yeah, Trevor Powers, I mean, the success he had at hooker speaks a lot about him and how he was able to develop athletes also.
In a rural community.
Oh, yeah.
He had to fight to get kids out there, and he did it for 8 solid years.
Yeah. I like I said, I'm not against Coach Powers one bit. I just, kind of don't feel great for my friend, and I'll consider him a friend because he's always been a friend to me. So, but things change, things move on. So we'll see what happens. But what do you got? Let's see, you got basketball going on. Are you SWOSU baseball, softball, as we mentioned, kicking up. It's just a full slate for you as we get along.
It's staying busy. Basketball or Hydro-Eakly basketball for a couple more weeks. I'd love to go on a run with them.
Yeah.
However far they want to go, I'll be there. And then it's basically just calling coaches and getting stuff ready. Baseball is right around the corner. Softball is right around the corner. Those are big things in Western Oklahoma.
Mhm.
Several very talented squads this year who are looking to add to the trophy case. So it'll be a busy spring, but I'm looking forward to it.
So will you also be doing some of the I-40 Classic when baseball gets
Yes.
started? Okay.
Be there. Hydro-Eakly baseball and softball. I
Yeah.
really love doing Hydro-Eakly baseball and softball. It's
Yeah.
small town. It's fun.
I filled in. I did some my first year with Wright Media, some of their playoffs. I've
Yeah.
never called a game at Hydro, but they went to playoffs in both baseball and softball. It's both times I got sent to Sterling.
Okay.
And called games at Sterling, and that was a tough pull to go on the road for regionals there. But great support from the Hydro-Eakly Bobcat Nation, and they support all their sports really well. And plus if you get there and you go to the game early enough, you can stop by Gloria's and get a chicken fry.
There you go.
All right. Well, who you got for your Super Bowl pick?
Seattle 21-10.
Now, is that your head or your heart?
That's my head. I think Seattle has a more complete team. I think their defense is a little bit better, and I think they have better weapons on offense for Darnold. Drake May led the league in fumbles this year. Nobody wants to talk about that. He hasn't looked too good in the playoffs, and he's going to have to rely on his.
He's had terrible weather.
He has. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
I mean, didn't he lead the league in explosive plays?
I don't know that stat. I haven't heard that one.
Hey, well, and I think I'll say this: if the Patriots win one, I think it'll be so funny to be kind of the antithesis. Even though Vrabel's a Belichick guy,
yeah.
But to win one without Brady and to win one without Belichick, I'm kind of all for that. But I probably would go Seattle just because it's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I heard Dan Orlovsky, I think today, said that the Patriots need a huge day from Stephon Diggs. I'd be surprised if you could get that to go. And then Ramondre Stevenson, the former OU Sooner, he's always tough to bring down, but
just a bowling ball with hands.
He is. But the story of Sam Darnold carries on, and for him to get a Super Bowl ring after all of the hectic career paths that he's had, that would be huge.
I would love to see it for Sam Darnold. All the times he's been kicked out the door and said he's not good enough to.
Yeah.
After the year he had last year in Minnesota to go 14-3 and nah, you're not the guy. And then to do it again this season,
we're going to run with JJ McCarthy. So
yeah,
that's always a great game plan. So anyways, well, Luke, you have yourself a great week. Thanks for jumping on. And it's always fun to do this. We'll shoot for next Wednesday as well. I won't have a game. I don't know if you will or not, but also I think the districts and regionals are being done a lot different this year for us. Saturday, then back on districts on a Saturday, regional on Tuesday, and then a Thursday or Friday affair. So
regionals Tuesday, skip Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All
to avoid different Saturdays, I guess. So I don't know, but anyway, we'll kind of recap the reveal show for Class 4A and 2A playoffs because we've got Sayre in 2A as well as Watonga. Watonga basketball is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the girls. I think the girls team have a chance to go on a run.
That would be cool. And love to see Wright Media have to pay all those exorbitant OSSAA playoff fees.
Yeah.
About 4 teams in state tournament. That would be outstanding. So anyways. All right, Luke. People can hear you on every weekday morning as well as Saturday mornings, 95.5 The Coyote at 7:50, News Talk 99.3 KCLI at 7:40. Catch the daily sports recap also in the afternoons with Luke Clement, sports director at Wright.media. Have a great week, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Chuck. Always enjoy it.
You're welcome. He's Luke Clement, and I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog. Thanks for joining us here on Western Oklahoma Sports Night. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. We'll talk to you real soon.